I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and we start out Genesis Does this week with a shout out to hiddenpalace.org. If you're looking for Sega Genesis prototypes or prototypes of all kinds, obscure, rare, hard to find vintage video game code that could have been lost to time, they have been dumping it and preserving it since 2005. And this was a game they had been looking for ever since the site's inception. For over 15 years, hiddenpalace.org was looking for a Sonic 1 prototype. And as they say themselves in the write-up, which is called Dreams Come True, there were some who believed this was never going to happen. They would go down the rabbit hole, as the author describes it. They would talk to a video game magazine employee who would say something like, "Oh yeah, I had that prototype, but I threw all that stuff away." It happened over and over again. And they were getting more and more worried with each year that passed by that if there was a Sonic 1 prototype out there somewhere, the EEPROM would be dead, the cartridge wouldn't work, the code would be lost forever. And then, one day, like a miracle, it actually happened. The prototype was released on December 31st, 2020, or January 1st, 2021, depending on what part of the world you lived in and what time zone you were in at the time. But it was released at the end of 2020 and start of 2021. So, kind of a good way to celebrate what had been a very awful year. The long-awaited Sonic 1 prototype had finally emerged from the wild. Here are some of the differences that you will notice not only when you check out the download for yourself, which is free and anybody can go to hiddenpalace.org and try it, but when you watch this gameplay footage, you will notice some of these things too. Like, for example, you get a very bog standard Sega title screen when you open the game. It doesn't go, Sega! There's nothing special there. It's just the standard boilerplate trademark and logo. The title screen also tells you to press the start button, which the actual Sonic the Hedgehog cartridge does not. The code exists for both, but in the prototype it works, and in the actual released version there's a glitch, and that's why it doesn't show up. It's there, but you can't see it. The palette is a little different. Sonic looks a little brighter compared to his normal version in the released game. The names of some of the levels are different, like Spring Yard Zone and Scrap Brain Zone are referred to as Sparkling Zone and Clockwork Zone, and some of the levels are incomplete or don't work. There's a hidden Act 4 for Green Hill Zone, which was used for testing and debugging purposes, and there are differences in the level layout, including a rolling ball that appears to be a carbon copy of the wrecking ball that Dr. Robotnik / Eggman swings at you in Act 3 of Green Hill Zone. Except, you can't really do much with it. It just chases you if you push it, and if it falls on you, it squishes you. But you can't squish other enemies with it. You can't run on top of it like you're balancing on top of a giant ball like a circus act. It's just there to annoy you or roll over you. It has no real purpose other than that. It's vaguely interactive, but not too terribly interactive. But it's different because that doesn't exist in the final build, along with a lot of other things. The layout for the Marble Zone has these UFOs in the background. You'll see that in a few minutes here. And those don't exist in the final build either, which I'm glad of because they're awfully garish and busy. I suppose they were meant to remind us that there are marbles everywhere, even in the sky, because they look like rotating UFO marbles, but at the same time, I think it was overkill. I think the fact that the actual underground area of Marble Hill Zone looks like it was made from marble stone is probably enough of a tie-in without having the garish UFOs above him when he's in the overworld. And as far as gameplay differences, you will notice a few things as well. Up in the upper left-hand corner where your stats are, it says ring instead of rings. when you start a level, it says act with a period instead of act with no period. It's not an abbreviation, so I don't know why they did that. There's no timeout if you get to 9 minutes and 59 seconds. It just loops back to 9 minutes. But I didn't purposefully run up any level to 10 minutes because that would just pad out the length of this video unnecessarily. You can take my word for it, or you can try it for yourself. Also, the final boss in Act 3 is the only appearance of Dr. Robotnik in the game. Eggman has not been programmed as a boss into any of the other sections in the game. That is how early this build is. There are also no checkpoints, so you can't save your progress. If you die anywhere on a level, you have to do the whole level over again. And there's no way to enter the special stages. They're programmed into the game, but you can't generate the gold ring that Sonic needs to leap through at the end of his stage. It just doesn't appear, it doesn't exist, it doesn't happen. And when you watch the special stage in the demo, you can tell even that is programmed incompletely because there's a goal right at the beginning, but when Sonic touches it, he doesn't exit out of the special stage. So clearly, this was a rough build. They were still working some things out at the time. Not all the levels have been programmed, not all the enemies have been programmed, not all the boss encounters have been programmed. There was no way to get special stages, no way to save your progress with checkpoints. There's a lot of things missing from this game, but it's also very fascinating for the differences that exist in the game that make it unlike any other version of Sonic the Hedgehog that you've ever played. There are a lot of people who deserve credit for this prototype even existing at all, so I will read directly from the acknowledgments on hiddenpalace.org. As detailed in the initial announcement, the search for this storied prototype was a massive effort with many people involved. We'd like to thank X-Keeper, Rusty, the whole TCRF crew, that would be short for the cutting room floor by the way, for being bros keeping things under control. Nick from Retro Gamer, Franz, EHW, and Saz Paimon, this is our wedding gift to you, for being part of the Hidden Palace crew. All of our supporters who have kept the site alive for many, many years, Sega and Sonic Team for creating such an awesome game and series, and Buckaroo for being extremely generous in letting us and the rest of the world have the opportunity to play this very important artifact in gaming history. Now, bottom line here is you're still going to want to play regular Sonic the Hedgehog. You can do this as an experiment to test all the different things. There's even a level select that you can use to skip around in it so you can try things that you want to. You press A and start on the final screen, and that will let you pick the levels that do exist to try them out. But you can't finish the game. Not every level is playable. Not all the enemies are there. So you want to do this just to look at a slice in time to when Sonic the Hedgehog was not even a known quantity in Japan or the United States. He'd made one cameo appearance in a video game as an air freshener hanging from the rearview mirror of a car that was being driven in a game, and that was as recognized as Sonic was at the time, which was to say, not recognized at all. So this is a moment in time before Sonic was a franchise, before this game made him a household name all around the world, before it spawned countless sequels and a cartoon and another cartoon and some really bad games in the 2000s and some pretty good ones in the 2010s and 20s. And here we are now on the verge of another Sonic the Hedgehog movie coming out. And the last one was actually pretty good. So I will definitely be going to see the second one. And I will probably be playing more of this prototype between now and then, because it's just fun to poke around and look at something that was thought to be lost, found to exist, and see all the ways that Sonic the Hedgehog changed from when they were first building it to when it was finally created. There's a lot of mysteries to uncover in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. You have to go to hiddenpalace.org to really find out more about all of them, because there are still prototypes to this day that they're looking for, and there are still things in the prototypes that haven't been fully debugged or documented yet. So the search never ends, the quest is ongoing, and that's what keeps the site alive and keeps the supporters so firmly in their corner.